duty is to fight for your country, soldier.
Here's one I've been wanting to cover for quite some time. Champion of the people. There's a lot of you out there who are not going to like what I have to say. This is going to be one of those episodes, I'm afraid. Tactical skill, assassination, a precision bombardment that deals up to 1,200 damage coefficient, and it deals an extra 25% damage if this officer is in an artillery troop. So basically you've got a 1,500 damage coefficient. Doesn't do anything else, just 1,500. There's nothing extra to this. It does the bare minimum amount of damage what you need the artillery unit to do. So 3. Counterattack increases the damage of the officer's troop by up to 25% when this officer is garrisoned within your base. I say it time and time again. Your artillery, the best way you can stack your artillery is through skill damage. The actual damage of the unit is only really taken into consideration when you are attacking things that are weak to artillery. Fortifications and infantry. 25% damage buff, though, is not to be sniffed at. I mean, we are increasing the damage output of the unit by a total of 25%. It's good. It does require you to be garrisoned. That's not good. Artillery, you are going to use offensively as well. It does get a 4. So things are shaping up okay, but you guys are not going to like what I've got to say at the end. Long range increases the firepower of this officer's artillery by up to 30%. This is a good skill. 30% firepower is great. It's excellent if you've got a long reload time and you're trying to bring that down. This is offensive and defensive. It's good. It's a 4. Skill damage buff of up to 25%. Charisma increases the skill damage of all officers in this troop by up to 25%. All officers in this troop. All officers. This is an extremely powerful skill, not just for artillery. You'll notice you can train this, and it isn't required to be placed upon an artillery unit. It can be placed on any unit. This is a 5. The awakened skill, the motherland. The firing range of this officer's artillery troop can be increased by up to 1 map grid. It's a 1, netting her a 3.4. Now, why did I give the motherland increased map grid range of 1? A1. And I will show you why. Because this is the thing. Okay, if you weren't aware, back in September, they were trying to balance the issue of the +1 map grid. So the +1 map grid meant that you could put Antonina on a howitzer and you could sit outside a enemy base's range and you could destroy it and they couldn't touch you. If they weren't online, they couldn't touch you. So what they did is they applied this. Any unit within the base gets +3 up to a +3 defensive grid range. So you can't outrange the base with the units that are inside the base. They will attack the artillery piece. So that's one whole use for that map grid gone. Doesn't matter, it's irrelevant. Also, yes, in an artillery on artillery fight, in an artillery duel, it does give you an edge. It doesn't give you enough of an edge for it to be relevant if you're moving at the time they get in range, which is a distinct possibility depending on what's going on the map. It's very situational. It requires you to be already in place and be targeting very specifically, micromanaging that unit in the middle of a battle. I don't rate the skill. I don't think the +1's worth it. If you are in an artillery duel in the field, which does happen, it happens to me all the time. Yeah, you have a great chance of winning. But the +1 map grid is not worth it. I mean, if it looks like I'm going to be outranged in an artillery duel, and most of the time that happens outside of my base, I just retreat into my base. There's nothing they can do. What are you going to do? You're going to attack me inside my base? Good for you. It's not going to end well in a one-on-one situation, I can guarantee you that. If you've seen the PvP video recently, you understand that artillery inside a base is a very dangerous thing. And she's an irrelevant officer. The skill damage without the 25%, so obviously she's going to be on an artillery unit, but without that little caveat, it's 1,200. That's low. You know, we've got an additional of 25% at 1,500. Right here. Right here. We've got an additional 25% for the aid with a 1,500. Right here.
I'm painting. Could you not interrupt?
We've got 1,500 with splash damage. We've got 1,800 with an additional 25% when garrisoned. Also, that's worth noting that this doesn't require you to be in an artillery troop, so if you were some sort of weird psychopath, yeah, you could put him on a tank and get the bonus from that 25% just while he's garrisoned, but, you know, you get the picture.
It was necessary.
I would never recommend this officer to you from this day forward. Never. There are too many artillery officers for you to choose from, even if you're like me and you're running 4 artillery pieces. Yes, I am running 4 artillery pieces now. Up until last week it was 3. The L4 is about to start, I am going up to 4. She's not in my lineup. She's training Saber of Nation. Can you guess which skill I'm using? You know what skill I'm using. I'm using skill damage. The whole point behind this officer was that you got the +1 map grid, which made attacking bases brilliant. They took that away, and now you've got her in a field fighting role when she's a garrison officer. She's a garrison officer. What good is it? It's not. You're going to put her in the field? Good for you. If she's in the field and we're in a big old fight and I see this officer on an artillery piece, I destroy it from the air. What are you going to do? Sure, you can stick fighters up there. I'll shoot the fighters down as well. And this is the crux of the issue. I see a lot of people online recommending this officer to people. Oh, it's a great officer. You should use this officer. Don't use this officer. She's rubbish. She's terrible. For an artillery officer, there are 2 artillery officers I never recommend to people. Champion of the People is one. The Eruptor is the second one. An Eruptor isn't even going to get a video. The reason being, he is that terrible. He's that terrible.
It was necessary. Don't feel guilty.
The Champion of the People gets a video because the amount of people I see on the internet going, oh, you should use her. She's great. She's fantastic. I am aware it is just my opinion. And I am aware this opinion is going to be very unpopular because a lot of you have her awakened. As an officer, she is completely irrelevant. If you have 1 artillery piece, just the one,
Winning can be easy if you know where to land.
you get this up to skill level 2. It's 1,000 damage coefficient.
Duty is to fight for your country, soldier.
She doesn't get to there until skill level 4. You have to get Antonina to skill level 4 to deal the same amount of skill damage. You can get
Winning can
Mr.
be
Perfect,
easy if you know where to land your
Stinger Fist. He out damages her with the skill damage at skill level 2. Skill level 2. And he's going to be better.
Your duty is to fight for your
I'm
country,
sorry if you've awakened her and I've just burst your bubble and you were hoping that I was going to say something great. This isn't like the Golden Eagle video where I was like, he's a selfish officer. I don't rate him. This is, she's an outdated officer. Don't use her. Like, sure, you're level 1. You're fresh to the game. You have her. Save your gold statues. Do not put them on the officer. You will very quickly be unlocking other artillery officers that are better. More specifically, Stinger Fist you get after 5 wins in the arena. You unlock him after 5 wins in the arena, which means you only need to get the arena opened up, and then you just need to battle people until you win 5 games. Well, you get like, you'll have him before the end of the day, you know? It's not difficult. Then you can pump all of those gold statues into an officer that's going to deal way more damage. Way more damage. I'm aware there are bigger YouTubers out there. Obviously, I'm not a big YouTuber. I'm not even a YouTuber. These are just videos I release for a few people, mostly within Salt or HP. There are a few of you who come back and watch my videos from outside of that sphere, and this is going to disappoint you. You do have my apologies. A lot of people got her awoken way back when. I've got the same issue. I awoken Steel Fighter. Uncle's now out. Steel Fighter's now irrelevant. It's the name of the game, people. They will make officers irrelevant. They will make better officers. And it will be an endless cycle of them selling you, or trying to sell you, statue packs in order for you to continuously chase the next powerful officer. It's a free-to-play MMORTS. What do you expect them to do? But you can save yourself some time, you can save yourself some effort. If you have started putting statues into this officer and she's not yet awakened, stop immediately, take the loss, and just remove her from your rotation completely. Take her out, put her in a training role, and replace her with Stinger, if you haven't already. And if you have more than one artillery piece and you're like, well, you know, I kind of need her, you don't. It's better to have more efficient officers in your lineup that are at skill level 1 than it is to have awakened officers in your lineup. Just because she's awakened, she's not necessarily going to yield any significant bonuses. As I said, you only need to put 10 points in on Stinger Fist, and his damage is already the same as hers at level 4. Do with that information as you will. There's just going to be plenty of officers that out-damage this officer. And if we're talking in terms of artillery, we're only talking in terms of pure damage. And she does not deliver compared to Eye of Providence, you know, Argent Flame, Stinger Fist, even some of the more obscure officers that are versatile, like Warrior Wiz, out damage what she is able to do. So I am very sorry. Please don't hate me too much for this. But also don't waste your time, chaps.